Hello, welcome to another video by Indicator Vault. In this video, we're going to go over the natural momentum indicator. And I've got here the NQ 15-minute chart. And this is a great indicator, of course, as its name suggests, to find momentum in the markets. And so this is going to help identify trends and also even the strength of the move, and even just help gauge this, how much more either downside or upside, a particular asset might have. And so it's got two parts to it. You can see here, we have the line here, and when it is crossing above or below the zero line, we'll get the buy or sell signals. And then also on the line, you can see it is turning green or red, indicating where that momentum actually is. And so, you will see sometimes, green can be below or above the zero line. Red can also be above or below the zero line. And we'll go over some ways that can actually help with even take profit levels, and correlating it with lows or other highs in the market. So let's start. We're going to start with this one here. And as we can see overall, the trend has very much been in a downtrend. And of course, this is capturing small movements inside. But if you know you're in an overall downtrend, you are going to just filter out, the buy signals and look for only sell signals. And so, yeah, there's very small moves that this could help with, but even a lot of the consolidation, it is going to show when, look, this range is very tight. Nothing much going on in here. Nothing much going on in here. You're wanting to use this indicator to help capture the big moves. Try and get in early on the big moves up or down. And so we'll go over just some very simple stuff, easy ways to capture some of that. One thing I like to look for, so we're in a downtrend, so we're looking for sells. I like to look for this start, particularly where the candle that then has it cross below the zero line, or in the buy scenario above the zero line. If a gap forms with that candle, which we see here, that is a great indicator for me that is going to be the start. That is going to be, in a sense, a breakaway gap. It shouldn't be filled. If anything, we should maybe see some wicks into it before we see the move down continue. For instance, if we saw this and then maybe this here, but then instead of this candle being, red, we get a big green candle closing above and filling the gap. Well, that would have me concerned as far as the continuation of the down move. Not that it couldn't happen, but just for that extra confirmation, I like to see a gap form on the candle that crosses below the zero line. And so since we can reasonably believe that this is going to be the start of the trend and we're okay with entering into it, just anchor your fib from there, putting it at the bottom of this low here, and we get a great retracement into the premium side of the range, right at the 61.8, and of course continues down very strongly. And what I want to point out as far as take profits, so reasonable, since we're in a downtrend, it's reasonable to expect a lower low. So we're not really looking at this low here. We're looking at this one. So we'll draw a line out and, it reaches it quite easily. But look at the natural momentum. We're well below the zero line. And not only that, we have the line red. So that is telling us there's still downside momentum. So you could, certainly take some partials here. Actually, it would have been this candle here with this wick as it goes below there. Take some partials there. but the natural momentum indicator is telling us that there's still strength to the downside with the line being red. And so it isn't actually, as I put some more lines on the chart here. So we're marking out here where the line finally turned green. We'll move that over with that to correlate. So again, even though we took this low, price action tells us that that's a reasonable take profit level. The natural momentum indicator is telling us this can still go farther. This is not showing any signs of turning around at the moment. And so you get another great move. I mean, very full, 4 in a row, strong down candles that could get you some more profit if you just hold until you see the green line form. And of course, we do see, some more move to the downside. If you wanted to, you could hold until it crosses back above the zero line. I personally don't hold for that long. That just would have been a little bit too much for me. But if you're into longer term moves, that would reasonably be another take profit level when you see the next buy alert. Would tell you to get out of the trade completely. So that's just another great way to use it, engaging the actual momentum and strength of the market, and helping with your take profit levels. And here's another example I want to point out. That same logic, on the Amazon 5-minute chart, we've got this big move here. It crosses below the zero line here with this candle right here. And, let's say you got into this move and you were expecting, this low to be taken, which is very reasonable. If you're in a sell and you're looking for a lower low, that would be the one to look for. And we see it comes very close to it, makes a move down here, takes buy side one more time, and then goes here. And we then see it continues upwards movement, very strong. And so it never takes this low, but that's why the natural momentum indicator is coming in handy, where, yeah, this still would have been a great move, but seeing that we now have price, or the indicator, crossing above the zero line, we are also gauging, look how much green compared to red is on, as the momentum indicator is slowly moving back up towards the zero line. We are getting long streaks of green, very short red right here, long streak of green, a little bit of red, and then finally this move up, correlating with here, crossing above the zero line. And so this is telling us right here that this low is more than likely not going to get taken. It is telling us all along here that momentum is building towards the upside. And of course, that's exactly what we see. And so using that, learning how to gauge the momentum with this would have been extremely helpful. You want to hold and you want to see that low get taken, but this is very much telling us that is not likely, that the momentum is starting to build towards the upside, and you should see a strong move up sooner or later. And so taking into all of this price action, yeah, we see a buy alert, but we've just come off of a strong move down. So, we're a little hesitant yet. Sure, there was a small gap, but it comes through, doesn't quite gain anything. We see this long wick, comes right back down, hasn't taken this low. So a lot of just indecisiveness in here. And again, the tight range in the momentum is telling us nothing is quite happening yet. And so, but what do we see here? We see a gap. It's not quite on the candle, that the zero line is crossed, but still it's a gap. We have a close above the most recent high. I'll mark that out for us. close above the most recent highs, not wicking and rejecting. So that's a good sign. We see it come back into the gap, consolidate around. And then finally we get one more, cross above, and then it just completely takes off. And so using that logic would have saved us, from a major loss in here. This high just gets completely crushed and never would have gone to our take profit level. And one last example I want to go over, got the PayPal 5-minute chart here, and another great way to use this, just like I've gone over before in the other examples. We see this huge move down, very strong, very quick, and it could not reach this low. And, even just looking at even all of this price action and all of this here, by far the most deep red, uh, you know, going down in the natural momentum indicator that we've seen in all of this. And even with all that bearish momentum, does not take this low at all. So reasonably what we can expect as price starts to climb up, we get long streaks of this green, we can reasonably expect that we can probably get into an uptrend move, and that probably this this high is what is going to be taken next before we ever see this low get taken. Because even with this strong move down and all the momentum to the bearish side, we don't see it taken. We start to see these buy signals. And so getting into any of these here would have been great entries. And there's, other ways, there's simple fib stuff and price action stuff to find precise entries. And so the momentum is starting to show and shift to the upside. So now, instead of seeing this low get taken, since the bearish momentum is over, we are now looking for this high to get taken. And of course, we see that is easily done. Pokes above here, even a great retracement for one more run above that high. And so that would have been, great logic to use to shift, even if you got into this move, cut profits early, see that, the momentum is shifting to the upside, get out of the trade with at least some profit instead of it running all the way up against you here. And even taking profits early before it gets to this low can now get you into a buy, since the logic is now pointing that that is the next move or where the next momentum push is going to be. So I hope this video was helpful, and until next time, best of luck trading.